know it's around here somewhere, but you haven't laid eyes on it yet.
Gotcha. Okay, well, when my shapeshift runs out, I will kind of detangle myself, and I will say, okay, we're close. I'm just gonna sit down and do another one of these, and I'll sit down and do another locate animals or plants.
Okay,
Probably
that
want to
takes...
approach it quietly, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. I'm probably gonna go myself, no offense.
Yee.
Okay, that takes you 10 minutes, right?
It does, yeah.
Or 11, technically?
And I think it technically takes me 10 minutes and 6 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 10 minutes, you learn that there is one, and you learn the direction. It's,
Yep.
so you know exactly where you're heading, but it's within a mile of you. Like, it's very, very close by.
Okay, so it must have been moving at the same time we were moving.
Yes.
Okay. Grok will be like, right, I'm gonna...
Actually, you know what? Let's leave this up to the dice a little bit. Roll me a luck check.
Oh, okay.
Again, just flat d20.
16.
It's within half a mile of you. It's like still a distance away that you need to travel, but it's not traveled that far.
Okay. I'm just gonna go get it, if that's okay with you.
Go
You
ahead.
do you.
Fine by me. I don't know anything about elk.
Righto. And Grok will, now that they're detangled from the cart and everything, turn into an elk again and head off in that direction. No longer
Okay.
burdened by the cart.
Make me another survival check to track it down.
Still with advantage?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. 21.
21's easily enough. It takes you a good while to track it down, maybe 45 minutes, but you do in fact track it down. So you've got eyes on it. How do you approach this creature?
How close am I to it at the moment?
At the very edge of visual distance. You've caught it like I would say about 120 feet away.
Okay. In that case, I'm just going to approach it in elk form, very slowly.
Okay. I don't want to be too cruel, but you are aware what you look like, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is Krok's first time seeing an elk.
Yes, so flat charisma.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Oh.
It flees at the sight of you immediately.
Oh.
Oh
Krok just kind
no.
of tilts the head like, that's weird.
It just bolts. It terrified.
Huh.
What do? You're still in elk form.
How close to it did I get?
It depends. Were you approaching it stealthily? You said you were approaching it slowly. Were you trying to sneak up on it, or?
Trying to think if I would have. I mean, I don't know if I would have snuck up on it. Because I was just trying to, like, Krok was just thinking, I will go to it as a fellow elk. Hello, how do you do, fellow elk, sort of thing.
Yes, and you were just as convincing as in that meme.
Yeah. So Krok's just like, wasn't expecting that. That's interesting. So how close do you think I got?
Let's say 60 feet away, which was
Okay.
half of the distance where you first saw it.
Okay, when it starts running, Krog will run after it.
Okay. So you've got the same speed as this thing, so you're able to keep pace. It's ahead of you, so this would be about, I guess, again, survival, to try and make sure like it can't shake you, it doesn't like lose you in the brush or like juke in a direction and you like
Miss it.
miss it. Yeah. 18. So you're able to keep up with it, but now it's just you and this other elk that is terrified running through the woods, sort of equidistant from each other.
Okay. Yeah, that's not great. I mean, I think Krog will just stop.
Okay. It continues to run, terrified.
Yep. Well, definitely now that it's been chased.
Yes, definitely now that it's been chased.
Okay, Krog is going to stop, sit down thoughtfully, and cast Locate Animals or Plants again. With the elk on the brain.
I was going to say, do you stop being an elk before you do
Oh,
that? Because when
yeah,
you said you
yeah.
stop and sit down, I was still imagining an elk.
Sorry, no. Krog returns to their humanoid form,
Right.
sits down, and casts Locate Animals or Plants again, thinking about elk.
Okay. You detect it several hundred feet away from you.
Yeah.
You've detected which direction it's gone. It's ahead of you. It hasn't changed direction too much. It was just running.
Yeah. Any others nearby?
There is also that other one that is now a couple of miles away.
Yeah.
Further ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Krog will return to the party.
Okay. So, about an hour and a half later, Croc returns to the party.
In that time, could I have tried to copy down the Summon Lesser Demon spell into my spellbook?
Yep, I think that's another Arcana check.
Alright, here's hoping for another good one. Actually, I think that succeeds.
What? Because it might not. I'm not sure where a 14 lands. What is the DC on checking something into your spellbook?
I thought it was the 10 plus the spell's level.
And this is a third level spell, so yes, that would succeed.
Woot woot.
So you have copied Summon Lesser Demons into your spellbook.
What recipe is that?
Oh, let's make that a nice fine Vienna sausage.
A lot of sausages.
There's a weird amount of sausage in John's spellbooks.
Hey,
Summon Lesser Sausage.
It's the Incubus variety.
Is it a spicy sausage?
This one is.
The lesser
Okay.
sausage.
Demons
Excellent.
are spicy.
Anyway, Krark, you get back to the party. They are all discussing spicy sausage for some reason.
How did it go?
I don't know why, but it ran away from me.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was an elk as well, so I don't know. It seemed spooked.
Did you try to talk to it?
I didn't get a chance. I got like, basically within spitting distance, and it, kind of lifted its head, looked at me, and then just bolted.
Rude.
Yeah, I thought so as well. Didn't get close enough to cast my spell.
Is no one else going to have to bring this up? Am I the only
What?
knight? John? No? Just me? Okay. Your elk form has a skull for a face.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
may have been off-putting.
Why?
That's not normal for an animal. Alright, just take a quick head count, Croc. How many of the humanoids around you can you see the bones of?
None.
Yes, that's rather the. You see, that's usually you can only see the bones if a thing is dead.
My
So
dad
to-
had some ranger friends, and whenever I saw the elk carcasses that they had, they always had the skulls out.
Yes, carcasses. That's my point. You look like a walking corpse to other animals.
But how would an elk know that?
I'm going to guess it's the glowing eyes and the skull face.
I mean, that's just a judgment, though.
It seem a little bit judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're wonderful. I'm just saying the elk might have taken one look at you and gone, "Oh God, that's terrifying," and ran off.
But, okay. What's scary about it, though? Like, it's just bone.
And
Well,
bark.
I thought...
specifically skulls are attributed with death. I mean, not saying an elk would necessarily put two and two together, but at least from where I'm sitting.
Oh. Okay. Didn't know that. I've only known these creatures through the remains in the swamp. So that's how
Right.
I learned to
Yes.
change. Didn't really have a lot of conversations before this. And, no animals. I was the only thing that lived in the swamp, other than the swamp. So, didn't really have a lot of comparison. I did wonder why the horse looked like that. I thought maybe it was just to help with the cold.
No, that was a normal horse.
Well, he did have a lot of gear on.
Did you get a good look at the elk?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Do you think now that you've seen one, you could turn into that kind of elk?
I mean, maybe. I've never really tried to control it before. I just do it.
If you're going to give it another go with the elk, might I suggest that you become the kind of elk that it looks like?
I mean, yeah, I could try it.
And Friend just gives like an uneasy shrug. I'm sorry, I don't know how any of your abilities work. I'm just.
I mean, I'm kind of learning as I go, if I'm honest.
Maybe you could do like a mating call to get it to come to us so you don't have to chase it.
It's not a bad idea.
A mating call.
Yeah,
I don't want to have that talk.
I mean,
really.
it would attract a creature.
I don't really know what it sounds like, but
Oh.
Well, I'm gonna go sit on the cart. You can go ahead and try it.
Croc will ritually cast Speak with Animals on themselves.
Okay.
And then kind of walk away from the cart and just like focus on elk
Right.
sort of thing, like the same way that they did with owl when they were talking to the owl,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just shout out, "Hello, elk! I'm friendly.
Okay.
Do you want to come hang out?"
Make me a persuasion check.
Absolutely. Croc's great at this.
Nice.
Do you know what?
16 is not bad for a +0.
I'm going to throw on my thing. 18.
18, okay. Yeah, 18's pretty good. Oh, alright.
Croc is just standing like 45 feet away from the party, just bellowing an elk into the woods.
How long does Croc do this for?
$10.
Okay. So 6-ish minutes later, a large, very curious, but a little skittish looking elk gets into your eye line and is like gazing in your direction, looking for whatever is yelling this sound that it doesn't understand why it can understand.
So Croc will just give a little wave and say, "Hello there. Would you like some food?"
Make me another. You can either use animal handling or persuasion here, but I need some kind of roll.
Oh god, I'm definitely going to
The
try.
dice need to decide this one.
I will form good berries and hold one out as well as a like, you know,
Okay.
look what I've got.
Yeah, so do it with advantage because you are actually offering something that smells like food, and elks do have a good sense of smell. 14. It starts very slowly approaching towards you, but not close enough to actually get the food. Just like
Yeah.
curiosity is overwhelming this creature, and it's
Yeah.
like mystified, but obviously still scared. So it's tense in that way where you can tell if someone makes a sudden movement, or if like a twig breaks around it, or if someone sneezes, this thing is gone. It's gonna bolt.
Guys, look,
Yeah.
it's working. It's working.
I will wait for it to get within 30 feet of me, and then I will cast Animal Friendship on it.
Okay. That takes a while because it is so
Yeah.
slow to approach. Do you keep talking to it to try and get it
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
closer? Okay.
I just keep saying to her, like, "Don't worry, I'm safe. I am. I'm friendly. I am of the woods like you are.
Right.
Uh,
And you're how far from the cart while you're doing this?
like I walked like a good 45 feet away from them.
45 feet. Wonderful. Perfect. Excellent. You summoned a good berry and walked 45 feet. Luna, make me an animal handling check. Now, this would be a
Me?
saving throw. Yes, you.
Why?
Because of the
You'll
guard
find
drake.
out. Yeah. Dan's clocked it immediately because there's a guard drake that's seen the person that feeds it good berries summon a good berry and hold it up. You catch it just in time as the guard drake gets up and starts going towards Karak. You get in front of it and manage to
No, sit.
yeah. You grab its attention, you get it to sit down. It keeps looking past you, but when you tell it to sit, it sits and waits and doesn't unsit. So you see this happening back at the cart, Karak. The guard drake being wrangled, and the elk gets within 30 feet of you.
Okay.
Isn't it behind them?
Cast Animal Friendship. Now, that is a saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Wisdom saving throw.
Okay, excellent. So at this point,
Which it's probably gonna fucking succeed on.
It might
Everyone's
not.
good at wisdom.
so here's the thing. There's two different kinds of elk. There's elks, and then there's giant elks. Giant elks are a lot rarer, so roll me a luck check, d20.
Okay.
Anything above a 15, it's going to be a giant elk, which is harder to tame, but a stronger, bigger beast. That's a 9, so it's a regular elk. So a wisdom saving throw. It's just a d20 plus nothing. It rolls a
What?
natural
What?
1. This elf
Yay.
has never failed a saving throw as hard as this in its life before.
Okay.
It's in
Right.
love with you.
Yeah.
I heard the
apparently.
mating call.
Yeah.
So I will step up to it if it seems relaxed now.
What does the spell actually do? Can you bark?
Yeah, it's considered charmed by me.
Right, so it considers you as a friend right now. It's
Yeah.
probably not considering anyone else as a friend, but it's considering you as a friend.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you still want me to bark the spell?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Is this gonna? Yeah, there we go.
Lets you convince a beast that you mean it no harm, right? If its intelligence is 4 or higher, it fails. No, it is not that. Okay, so it lasts 24 hours. So for the next 24 hours, it considers you a friend.
Yep.
And the components are a morsel of food, which you're already holding, so that's...
Yep.
Alright. So yeah, it lets you approach fully.
Okay. So I try to pet it and calm it.
It calms slightly, looking just thoroughly confused.
And yeah, Croc is just gonna say to it, these woods are quite dangerous. I imagine that you've been spooked by a great many things.
Oh my, yes. There was a
Um,
skull elk that chased me earlier. It was terrifying.
All right. Well, my friends and I are traveling through these woods. We have uh, we have defeated orcs and wargs that have attempted to attack us.
Oh, no, avoid the orcs. They'll eat you.
Yes, that's so. And we're heading north. But I was wondering, you seem very strong and stout. I was hoping that you might be so kind as to help me move a cart with your big strong shoulders.
What's a cart? Make me a persuasion check.
Cool. Do I have advantage because it's charmed by me?
Yes. Okay, hold on. Here's the thing. You can roll with advantage, but then this'll only last as long as the charm lasts.
Yeah.
Or you can not roll with advantage, and it might consider sticking around after the charm.
Sophie's choice.
Mm-hmm. What's it going to be, my friend?
Calculating.
Yeah. I think it's more in character for Croc to just try to convince it flat.
Yep.
So I'm gonna just try that.
Okay.
I take it I can't make an argument for animal handling.
Yeah, absolutely you could. It's an animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, for God's sake!
An 8. Okay. So, you haven't convinced it to pull a car. It's like, I don't think I want to pull anything. That would slow me down. I wouldn't be able to run away from things, and I need to run away from predators.
You do, yes, but in this instance, for this journey, you would have us to protect you, and I would be able to feed you, so you wouldn't need to forage. You would just have food available to you at all times. And we would protect you from any predators.
Like a herd.
Yeah, like a herd.
How do I know I can trust you?
Um, Honestly, I don't know if there's a way for me to convince you. I lived alone. I've lived alone for all of my life. I've never had a hurt until I met these people. And
Do you motion to the group?
yeah,
It looks and like stiffens because it doesn't
no,
consider any of them friends.
yeah, no. I know that they might seem alarming to you, but they're actually very friendly. There's quite a dangerous, what would normally be a predator to you or I, who is actually a part of our herd and helps protect us.
There's a predator there.
Yes,
Then why aren't we running away?
because he's part of our herd and he protects us from other predators because we have formed a friendship.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, neither does the fact that I'm talking to you. But
No, you're right. That doesn't make any sense either.
but today has been full of surprises for us both.
But there's a predator over there, so we should run away.
We could, or we could use him to protect us from other predators.
There are other predators?
This woods is full of orcs and wargs, you said.
Oh, yes, that's true.
And
Why aren't
he
we
is.
running away? And it's at this point that you get into one of those conversations that loops a bit. You do realize you're dealing with a creature with an intelligence of 2.
Yeah.
There are a lot of concepts that you're throwing at it right now that just do not make sense to its brain.
Yeah.
While this is
And
happening,
unfortunately, Croc just doesn't have the brain to know that.
Mhm.
I like lean
Yes,
over to
Lena?
John and I'm like, "Do you think it's working?"
I haven't the foggiest idea. It probably as good as it possibly can go, considering it isn't running away.
They're just making weird sounds.
Yeah. John's gonna start ritual casting comprehend languages for shits and giggles.
Okay.
To see if I can possibly begin to make out the language of elk that they're speaking. This is the only thing that I really can do. I don't think it's gonna work, but you know, and John's gonna cross his fingers.
Good luck.
Okay. John's busy. Anyone else, including Croc, can make me a perception check.
Oh.
I took myself right out of that, didn't I?
Mhm.
Whoa.
On point.
There we go, Luna.
So
Hell yeah.
everyone notices that this skittish creature, it's a little bit wounded. Like it's got claw marks across its flank, which seem to be from a predator trying to eat it and it either getting away or defeating it. But this isn't a creature in 100% health.
Can we, based on the claw mark shape, tell what kind of creature it was?
With a 23 perception, with a nat 20 perception, you probably could.
Mhm.
But I believe that would be an intelligence check to figure out
Ah, okay.
exactly what animal. So if you'd like to make me an intelligence check,
Nah,
Can
I'm
I make
good.
a survival check to try and determine it?
yeah, survival could work. Could have been
Oh
anything.
boy.
Could have been absolutely anything.
Could have been a tree.
Croc will say, "You look a little hurt there. I can help with that if you like."
How?
The same way that I'm talking to you, with the connection that I have to nature.
I don't understand.
I'll show you, and I will cast Cure Wounds.
It like obviously feels better. It looks a bit perplexed for a while and kind of like cranes its head round and nibbles at its flank that had obviously been hurting before and is now like healed over but with matted fur there. And it goes, "Oh, that doesn't hurt anymore."
Yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
that.
I made it better, and these
You
are the
did.
sort of things that we do for each other as a herd.
So if I pull cart for you,
Hmm.
you'll make me better if I get hurt.
Yes, and I will feed you, so you don't have to forage for food. You remember the berry? And Croc will take out another berry.
And it'll eat the berry. And
And feel pretty damn good afterwards.
yeah, it's a bit confused about that. You've thrown so much at it.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting a renewed appreciation for how much Al can comprehend.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this creature is just...
Yeah.
It's so confused by everything that's happening, but it does agree to pull the cart for you.
Nice.
However, as it approaches the cart and sees the guard drake, it very much stiffens up and goes like full wide-eyed. It doesn't run away, but it's like a cat seeing like a spider,
cucumber.
or a cucumber, something that makes it like stiffen up and like puff up. It just is. It doesn't like that. It knows it doesn't like that.
Yeah. And Croc's gonna say, that's the predator that is part of our herd. He won't hurt you.
So it stays stiff for quite some time, and then starts to unstiffen and says, "If it tries to hurt me, I'm gonna kick it."
Absolutely fair.
Oh my god.
And that is it. Okay, so it now approaches the cart. You've got it to the front of the cart. What you need to do is turn it around so that you can put the barding on it and whatnot. It refuses to turn its back on the guard drake, so it is standing the wrong way round at the cart, and it's like very, very stubborn about moving.
So Croc will say to Luna, can you... We still don't have a name for the guard drake. We really need to come up with one.
Yeah.
But could you sort of take him in a sort of wide circle quite slowly, just kind of around so it's on the path in front of us, so that the elk can kind of see it and turn with it. And I will be right back. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Come here, boy. I say in Draconic, and I try to lead
Yeah,
him in a wide berth around to the front.
There's no animal handle check needed for that. Come here, boy, is nice and easy. It follows you, and as you like lead it, the elk will slowly turn with it, still looking stiff, and like sometimes letting out like a really big, deep breath from its nostrils. Which, being that it's such a big, powerful creature, like you see steam shoot out of its nostrils.
I guess I'm gonna sit on the guard drake and tell him the. Can I point forward and just say walk in Draconic? Because now I have to stay ahead of them.
So you wanna walk the guard drake forwards?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing you wait until like the barding is put on the elk first. All right. So the barding takes a hot second to get on the elk because again, it's made for a horse, not an elk. But the proportions are like reasonably comparable, and barding is made to be adjusted. So it's adjusted and fitted onto this elk who just kind of shifts awkwardly, and then eventually you start leading the guard drake away, which it kind of goes, "Oh, phew," about, and then Croc's obviously not here as a player, but it's expressed to the elk that it needs to follow in the direction of the guard drake, which it's very unhappy about. But eventually, it does start plodding onwards. The cart starts rolling, and the elk is considerable. Like it's a big, powerful creature compared to just like a tired warhorse. It can pull this cart now with the less weight on it fairly easily.
What do you mean Croc's not here as a player?
Dan said they needed to be right back.
Where?
Moments earlier.
I think
They
the
said-
food came or something.
Yeah, they said I'll be right back. I'm
really?
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
that did not come through, man. It must be crazy.
That didn't register for you? Because I
No.
promised that happened.
Okay, I believe you.
Pinky promise.
My internet's been being weird.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
Okay, has the elk stomped us to death with its hooves?
no.
That's a relief.
So what is happening now is Luna is kind of leading the pack on top of the guard drake, and the elk is awkwardly following after, although it's not happy about having to follow the guard drake.
As we're walking, can I tell the guard drake stay on alert in Draconic?
It cocks a head back, looks at you, and like, what's super weird about this is it nods like a person nods, like it nods in acceptance.
Yeah. That way,
you-
like, because we're at the front, so if it sees something.
And what you learn through this exchange is you say stay on alert, and like, did you say that in common or draconic, by the way?
Draconic.
Draconic, yeah. It that's a full sentence, and it nods like as if it fully understood that sentence.
Sus.
So, kind of sensing the elk's skittishness,
Mm-hmm.
Walker's going to say, I asked Luna to take the drake up front so that you could keep an eye on it at all times, because I didn't think you'd want it out of your sight.
What's a Luna?
A small thing, and Krug will point at Luna.
The predator?
No, the small thing on her back, on its back.
I only see the predator.
Okay. Luna, could you come over here?
Why?
So
Its ears perk right up.
So I can introduce you to the elk.
Okay, I pat the guard drake and oh god, what did I say? I just pat him and leave.
Okay, he comes right over with you.
Okay, I immediately stop. I stop.
Okay.
Walk and in Draconic and I point forward.
Okay. It walks forward, but it keeps looking back at you as you go the other way.
I slowly back up.
It slowly walks forwards, getting slower and slower as it goes.
Towards me, or like it's going
Away.
down the path?
It's going the other way, but it's going slower and slower because it doesn't like that it's getting further away from you.
Okay, I try to go over to Croc.
Okay, you zip over to Karok.
And land on them.
Okay, so this is a Luna.
That's
Hello.
a bird.
It's a fairy.
What's a
Does
fairy?
Croc even know that? I don't fucking know.
I was going to say, do you know she's not a bird?
That's a really good point, actually. Yes, this is Luna. She
Luna's a bird.
Yes, she commands the predator.
What do you need from me?
She's a bird predator?
No,
This is
Check.
all so confusing.
oh, you asked who she was.
This is all happening in
like,
elk language, so I'm just looking between them confused.
It's all happening in elk language, but the elk leans right in towards Croc and narrows its eyes at you, Luna, and like gets really close. And then just like huffs breath out of its nostrils at you, which is like powerful enough to like blow you an inch back.
Ugh.
I think you can go back to the Drake now, if you want.
Okay.
I just wanted to introduce the two of you.
I leave.
The elk watches you go.
I land
And
on the
then
Drake
just,
and we
like-
keep going.
Yeah, it just looks confused at Croc. The Drake seems much happier once you return.
But as you can see, the Luna controls the predator. And it's in your eye line, so you can see that it's not dangerous to you.
Predators eat birds.
And this one does not. This one protects her.
It gets to the point where the Luna, like the Luna, the elk isn't rejecting the things you say anymore. It just
Yep.
continues to look confused and is like
Mhm.
it's not bothering to state that it doesn't understand. It's just confused.
Yep. Occasionally, Croc will just look over at Al, not to say anything, but just kind of look over and be like, "I need to rate you higher in my estimations, friend."
Al's there with like a cloak over his shoulder, like the previous paladin cloak over his shoulder. He's got like a little canteen with just a drink in it, and he's just sipping and kind of like staring down into the liquid,
Yeah.
like in thought.
Yeah.
Be hard for him.
And yeah, we will just carry on as long as this lasts.
Okie dokie. So where are you heading now? Because this elk is friendly to you for at least the next 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I think just north.
Just north. Okay. So, we've done quite a bit of traveling. How did I? I've already forgotten how far. It was like 22 miles that you guys could make it in a day, right?
About that, yeah.
Right. Well, there's been some buggering around, so let's say 18. That would lead you guys, I believe, there. So a day's worth of travel goes by. The wood is full of activity, which is honestly nice to see that the world isn't completely dead. Like, sometimes you see squirrels, sometimes you see birds. There's a lot of creatures around. Most of them try to avoid you because it's a pretty dangerous world and things generally try and stay out of the way. The squirrels are a lot more brazen than anything else because they always seem to believe that they're up in the tree and nothing can get to them. So
Yeah.
you see them more than any other animal. You don't come in contact with any like tracks for wargs or warg riders or anything. And to be honest, it's the first day in a while where things have seemed calm, being that it was like combat back to back to back up to now.
Yeah.
And it hits the point where it is starting to come to nightfall, and you will all need to rest again. Like it's been a day of travel. The elk is getting tired, and I believe your spells run out unless you're. I guess you could re-up it because it is a ritual, isn't it?
It is a ritual, yeah.
Yeah. So the a couple of times after the spell runs out, the elk like turns to you and makes elk noises, but you can't understand what they are.
Effectively, yeah.
But yeah, it reaches a point where this is not a trained or tamed animal. So when the elk gets tired, it just stops.
Yeah.
It just stops, and that's it. It doesn't want to go on anymore. So it reaches a point in the day where your elk just goes, "That's enough walking for today. I'm done."
Yeah, Croak will re-up the speak with animals,
Hmm.
feed it another good berry,
It graciously eats it.
and start kind of unhooking it from the cart.
Right.
And say, so generally what we do when it's evening time and we're getting ready to sleep is we all sleep quite close together.
Mhm.
If you like, you and I can sit a little bit apart, so you don't have to be so close to the Drake.
What? Sit?
Well, Krog will kind of lie down.
Oh, lay down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to sleep, but
Why not?
I don't know. Never have.
It just stares at you in confusion again.
I'm a wee bit like a tree.
Okay. The elk has no understanding of how trees work. Trees just are to its
Mhm.
perception.
Yeah. Do you want to take a rest?
Yes, I am tired. I need to rest.
Okay. So Brock will tell everybody that we're stopping for the night.
So, stopping for the night, where are you guys going to seek shelter? Are you just going to camp, like, in the woods somewhere? Are you going to start up a fire? Are you going to try and, like, set up a canopy of some kind?
I mean, do we want to erect our tent?
Yeah,
Or
we should probably do the tent.
we could try to make the dome. But I'll
I
have
thought
to
you
tap
said-
into the orb again.
I don't think that's a good idea.
It would be the safest, warmest thing that we could do.
Can we all fit in it?
We
Can you
could
check on
without the
those
elk.
wargs?
Yeah,
I
last time we
feel like-
didn't keep the horse in, though. That didn't go well.
Yeah, the horse won't fit, neither will the elk.
Brock will do a walk check.
No wargs within 5 miles of you.
Okay, now we'll give everybody the good news. I mean, we're carrying this tent for a reason.
So, are you setting up the tent then?
Yeah. Yeah, tent goes up.
Okay. I don't think there's any checks associated with setting up a tent. It just takes a while, and setting up a tent for the first time when you don't have like instructions or haven't done it before, it takes a while and it's very annoying. But
Yeah.
you get the hang of it eventually, and after falling down 2 or 3 times, the tent finally goes up.
Then I suppose we shall get in it and do a rest.
Yeah, Croc scatters like all of the furs and stuff on the ground.
Mhm.
To help you kind of retain heat in the tent.
Okay, yep, it's definitely not as warm as the dome was, but
Yeah.
it is shelter from the elements, and there are plenty of warm furs, so it is enough that you guys can rest in it without needing to make constitution checks.
I'll try to bring the guard drake in on the opposite side of the elk to like keep them separated.
Was the elk being led into the tent? Because
I mean, Croc's gonna ask it, but I doubt it wants to come in.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily understand being
Yeah.
inside. As far
We
as it's
can't leave it
concerned,
outside though.
Yeah,
as
Croc-
far as it's concerned, that means it can't see predators to run away.
Yeah, Croc is just gonna hunker down next to the tent with it.
Outside?
Yeah.
Right. Well, if that's the plan, is the guard drake still going inside the tent?
Yeah.
Okay. The elk is much happier about that now. It can't see the guard drake. Even though the guard drake is still actually very close by, it's got that kind of if I can't see it, it's not there kind of mentality. Where because it's not there anymore, it doesn't scare it, so it doesn't worry about it.
Like a
Yeah.
cat.
And yeah, Croc is just gonna sit out and like kind of let it get some sleep and keep watch.
I sleep.
Okie doke. So Krog is keeping watch all night. Is anyone else keeping watch, or is this the fairly typical Krog does the night's watch while everyone else rests?
Okay.
I'm in better shape, so I'll come out for a watch or two.
When
I
do
think
you
some
come out for a
owls
watch?
of people will offer them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come out probably like the middle watch, when it's like latest, you know.
Okay. So you're asleep at the initial then the night.
Yeah.
Okay. Croc, you can make me a perception check.
Did somebody leave me their owl?
Anyone that you asked, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. Does that mean I get to make it with advantage?
Sure does.
That is a 17.
Okay, so the woods kind of shakes at a certain point in the night, an hour or so into the watch, and it's one of those things that like all of the trees shake, and the elk like lifts its head and turns, and I don't know if it would wake you up, Luna, but the guard drake lifts its head and turns, even though the guard drake is inside, because the animals just feel something really big move, and they all turn to attention, but nothing lands near you guys. There's no big impact. There was just like and like it pulled the trees, and then everything sways.
Hello?
But that was it. Like nothing further happens. There is just that at one point in the night.
Oh. Who's going after the ring?
And then yeah, the knight and Croc can make me a following perception check.
Two separate ones, or
You can there's two owls, so you can both have advantage for this if you like.
don't mind if I do. 17.
That's a 17 for you. Croc, would you like another one?
Maybe they went AFK.
Quite possibly. Anyway, 17 is vaguely good enough to see this, so
What?
I'll give you some information the
Vaguely?
night. Yeah. I would have given more if it was a 20, but 17's good.
Oh my God.
So a couple of hours later in the night, there is at some distance away some kind of like conflict. You can't exactly hear what's going on, but you can feel thunderous clashes. And for you to be feeling them, because I'm not saying hear them, because the sound comes like a couple of seconds after that like impact, you're feeling some kind of thunderous clash in the distance happening 2 or 3 times, and then there's a pause, and then another 2 or 3 times.
Does it sound like metal on metal, or
Does not sound like metal on metal.
what does it like sound like?
It sounds like a crash, like a boom, like something heavy impacting the ground.
I guess I'm gonna wake people. Because that could be another raw iron night, and we don't need that right now. So, I'll like kick John and Luna awake.
That's a little big
Okay.
for me.
Sounds a way off, but just best be on alert.
Did we hear it?
In another like it takes another minute or so, but then you hear it again. It's like and then like a pause, and then that again.
Is there any lights or anything associated with it?
No lights. And in fact, the way I described it initially, I'm going to try and describe again. Like you feel like the air move. You feel like a burst, like an impact washing over you, and then the sound comes like a split second later. Almost like a crack of thunder.
But no light.
No light.
I'm gonna have my owl fly up through the canopy and look in the direction that the sounds are coming from. Can we see anything outside of the tree line?
Whatever is happening is below the canopy and not outside the tree line.
Okay. I will poof my consciousness into the owl and then tell it to investigate the noise, and then I'm gonna hold my action to dismiss the owl if like anything like targets it. Like if it becomes
what is the distance that you can have your consciousness in the owl?
Forever, but I cannot issue commands to it once it leaves 100 feet. I can only dismiss it as an action.
Okay.
But yeah, I could fly it across the continent and still see.
Okay, so...
I'll spell description one more time.
Yeah, no, you send your owl, and an hour later it still hasn't found anything. Do you keep searching?
Yes.
2 hours later, the owl is definitely getting closer to the sound, but it still hasn't found anything.
Can you do the classic, like, I count how many seconds it takes, and that's how many miles away the thunder is?
Well, assuming the speed of sound is the same in Faerun.
Apologies for that. I had to bolt.
No problemo.
Got a leak again.
Oof.
Oh no. Well, round up your staff and execute them. You can't keep letting people leak information like that.
Very, very true.
Well, TLDR, in case you didn't hear it, there's big bangs outside, but they're very far away, but we can hear and feel them in the ground.
Good times. Are they in the direction of the way that we came?
It's a good question, are they?
John is currently tracking them down with the owl. The direction you came was due south. These are southeast. So yes, but no.
Okay.
So yeah, John's gonna continue searching them out with the owl.
Well, how much light activity can you do in a long rest? Because
I'm doing no activity. I'm currently watching a TV.
Indeed, you are watching a TV, but you're it's going to start reaching the point where you're not going to have enough sleep to have completed a long rest if you keep going at this. So it's been 2 hours right now of you watching TV. Is it like it's 6 hours sleep you need, I believe, out of an 8-hour long rest?
Yeah, 6 hours sleep.
Right. So if you stay awake any longer, you're not going to get your long rest in.
That's fine.
Which
So
direction was the sound in?
Southeast.
Southeast.
Okay.
So that's west, over here, towards the gap in the jungle.
Yes, indeed, towards the gap in the jungle. And obviously, your owl is flying as fast as it can, but it is 22 miles to the gap in the jungle, and you don't think it's going to be able to get there by morning.
Well, 120 feet every 6 seconds.
If your owl was able to sprint indefinitely, yes.
I mean, it's a fey spirit. It's not a real creature, so theoretically,
Well,
it still has a physical form.
Yeah.
It's still in like the body of an owl, basically.
Yeah, the owls aren't long distance. They're not like an albatross. They can't just lock their wings and glide.
Yeah.
I think
So your owl is struggling.
the bigger issue was I think John was holding an action to dismiss his owl. It's just holding an
That too.
action take energy.
It is technically concentration, which means he would have been concentrating for an awfully long time. And this is in the middle of the night. So, John, you're exhausted, you're watching TV, and you're concentrating on basically a movie of an owl flying through woods, and nothing is happening.
And still no lights?
Still no lights.
Just booms.
And like as the hours go by, it definitely doesn't sound like they're getting closer, does it?
Nope.
Okay.
Sounds like wherever this happening, it is locked in that position.
I'm going back to sleep. And I curl up. I pat the Drake so to tell him to go to sleep.
Yeah, he takes the cue from you, curls around you, and rests his chin on his own back end, so he's fully in a coil with you in the middle. So what are the rest of you doing?
How long into the rest has this happened? Sorry, I think I may have missed it while I was throwing towels on the ground.
I believe it was an hour and a half where the initial thing happened where the trees shook, and this happened an hour after. And John's been looking through his owl's eyes for 2 solid hours now, so this is 5 hours into the rest.
So, assuming the owl was capable of moving 120 feet every 6 seconds, the owl
Yes.
could have gone 13.5 miles.
In the time we've had so far?
Yeah, in 2 hours.
Okay. So, sure, let's say your owl has made it 13.5 miles, which is there.
Yeah.
It's now utterly exhausted and flying erratically. Because 2.5 hours of that strenuous flying, your owl is making constitution checks to keep going. Do you push it onwards?
And there's been no signs, no anything. Does it sound like...
Not no signs. You're definitely getting closer to it. The points of impact are getting closer and closer.
Are the sounds more distinct? Can I make out whether it's the sound of trees falling, or of metal on metal clashing, or of flesh slamming into flesh?
It's definitely not metal on metal. It doesn't sound like flesh on a scale that you've ever heard it before. It sounds like meteors crashing to Earth or something impacting the ground as hard as possible.
Okay, we're going to keep going, but we're not going to push the familiar to double dash anymore.
Okay. So you keep going, and you get to the point where when these clashes happen, the owl is actually seeing things move. And it's been hours now, so this has been going on a really long time.
Yeah.
And the trees are swaying when it gets close to this area. But again, the owl finds nothing.
And we're within tree swaying range.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Right. Now, who is inside the tent?
Me.
If it's been a good couple hours, then yeah, I've probably come back inside.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I know the knight went outside with Karak, but the knight's saying you're going back inside now?
Yeah, if it's been hours and hours and we're not in
hours.
immediate danger, then
Yeah.
I've done my bit.
Right, so Luna, you're asleep, right?
Yep.
Okay. Knight, are you going back to sleep?
Sure.
Bren is asleep, Al is sleeping, John can't see anything, so I think, Knight, you're the only one in the position to be able to notice anything. Make me a perception check.
Perception. 9.
9. Okay, you don't notice anything.
9.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
9.
So you go back to sleep, nothing wrong there. So you're going to push your owl on even further, John?
Yes.
Okay.
We're no
So
longer
it's-
double dashing now, so hopefully we're giving the owl a chance to stay alive.
Yep, the owl is still exhausted, but it's still going, it's still searching. You gain a point of exhaustion because this is all the way through the rest now that you have pushed through the rest and not like slept like you need to.
Yep.
It's at this point that the owl does find something. You hit a point in the tree line where trees just cease to be. There are just now no, like, your owl flies into a clearing and then like basically flies to a stop, as it had been flying through woods and there is just a patch where like trees have been cleared. In this patch where trees have been cleared, your owl flies into a clearing and finds maybe 30 or so full-sized dragons in a circle.
What the fuck?
Bro.
Looking inward right now to two figures, humanoid figures, standing in the middle of the circle. And they're doing this like strange thing where one of them is striding around the other and just announcing things in Draconic,
Which I speak.
which you speak. And it's almost like it's giving a seminar. So it's a very strange scene because it goes in the circle around the edge of these full-size dragons. You've got a white dragon, then a red dragon, then a white dragon, then a red dragon. White dragons and red dragons fucking hate each other. So the fact they're all standing in this strange circle, basically glaring daggers either side of each other in unison, is strange enough. But the fact is they're all staring into the center point. And you've got this Goliath-looking man in this ridiculous red coat that looks like it's made of like fur and red dragon scale, but is shiny, which red dragon scale usually isn't particularly shiny, so it's like glossed up somehow. And this Goliath man is standing there, blood absolutely pouring from his mouth, and just like standing there, gritted teeth, half hunched over, as this smaller figure in a white robe, which is splattered with blood, is striding around him and announcing a sermon about how the tenets of the rules of Tiamat keep them all safe, and basically how stepping over the line is not okay. And then, like, about a couple of minutes into this sermon about like the rules of Tiamat, he turns and just hammers this red dragon in humanoid form dead in the chest. This Goliath guy who takes the punch, skids back a good 15 feet, and then walks back into the arena, wipes the blood from his chin, and then he starts espousing his point, which is how fucking greedy and cynical and shitty the white dragons have been, and how basically terraforming the earth to like, terraforming Faerun to their demands and like making this area frosty isn't within the tenets of Tiamat, and like terraforming is outside of it, and how the entire earth could have been like overrun with fire so easily. They could have just opened up the realm of fire and poured it across the lands, and how this is like not within the tenets of the treaty. And about partway through this speech, he gives up and just turns and hammers the smaller elven-looking white guy in the center of the chest. And there's another of these big booms. And the white guy skids back 15 feet, and then it's his turn. And this just keeps going back and forth for as long as you continue to watch it.
And has been, assumedly, for the last 6 goddamn hours of flight time.
For hours. And the interesting thing here is the red dragon guy, the Goliath in obviously red dragon attire, is looking beaten to shit. However, the guy in white, the half his size elven looking guy, despite taking equal amounts of punches, just looks impossibly implacable. So despite being spattered with the other guy's blood and taking equal blows to like the chest, he doesn't look like he has a scratch on him. and you can see the way this is going. It's almost like a filibuster. Like they talk until they punch the other guy, and then the other guy gets to talk, and then he gets to punch him, and eventually either one of them wins the case or one of them passes the fuck out.
Interesting. So this smaller figure that's representing the white dragon, does this look like the same figure that we saw with the pretty people and the big dude that we fought in the field?
It very much does.
Okay.
So he's got the platinum crown, like partly swooped horns. He's got the robe on, although the robe is significantly redder than it was last time you saw it.
Yes, but not through coloration intentionally, but through viscera.
Yeah, through viscera.
Okay. Uh-huh. Right. So John's gonna have his owl alight on a tree branch,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gonna pop back into his own senses.
Mm-hmm.
Who's awake right now?
Looks to you like everyone's asleep inside the tent.
Okay. So, obviously, not finding Kruok inside the tent,
Mm-hmm.
John's gonna go outside and speak to Kruok.
Oh, hey John, how's it going?
Ah, one. That was exhausting.
What was exhausting?
Concentrating for the last 4 hours, 5 hours.
John, you're meant to be sleeping, not reading books.
Well, I wasn't reading. Was in the owl, and we flew
Oh,
all the way to the edge of the forest.
oh did you work out what that big slamming noise was?
Yeah, you know what it is? 32 fucking dragons having a meeting, talking about ideologies. It's the whites versus the reds.
I see.
The red dragons aren't pleased with the white dragons terraforming this into an ice domain.
I
They
found
would have.
myself agreeing with the Red Dragons.
Well, the red dragons want to open up the portal to the elemental plane of fire and wash the continent in a burning blaze.
Okay, maybe not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought for a moment maybe we could find allies, maybe trepidatious allies, in the Reds. It doesn't look like.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
No.
That's even worse than the cold.
Yeah, it is. The cold you can sort of deal with, but not being on fire.
Just
Prob-
for clarification, DM, did the Reds say that they were going to do that, or that it's ridiculous that the Whites are doing what they're doing when the Reds could have done that and didn't and showed restraint?
John kind of got what John got from it, but what I initially explained was that the red guy was using the fact that they could have done that as an example and was basically saying that what the whites have done is not okay and not within the tenets of Tiamat's rule.
Yeah.
So therefore, opening up the plane of fire would also be not within the tenets of Tiamat's rule.
Which is why they didn't do that.
Yes, but that might not be in what of John interpreted, and John is telling you the story right now.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that my interpretation wasn't based on a falsehood.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Krog knows that, but
Yes. And we all know that John is just a little bit paranoid.
yeah, but not about everything. You could do with being a little bit more paranoid in some respects.
Are you talking about the demonology that's
Yeah.
currently rattling around in my backpack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your backpack feels a little lighter, John.
Oh, does it now?
Is he wearing it? Would he be wearing it asleep?
I mean, he didn't sleep.
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't
maybe
sleep.
that.
No, I sat down.
Yeah, good
like-
point. Okay, so they're arguing about ideology. Who's winning?
It doesn't look like it's a civil debate. What it looks like it happens is you say your piece, and then you attack your opponent once, and then they say their piece, and then attack you.
It's
I
weird.
th-
The more I
the-
learn about dragon culture, the more I think Al would weirdly fit in.
Sorta. It's a little strange, but it looks like the little guy that we saw before. I think it's Frieza is winning.
Oh,
He certainly
okay.
looks much better for the wear. Also, this is where I'm going to say John notices that his backpack feels really light. He's going to open it up. Am I missing my tomes?
You're missing your demonology books. You're not missing your cookbook because it's a cookbook.
Okay.
What about the spell book from the handsome dude?
Gone.
And nobody noticed anything?
Nope, they were asleep.
I
We're
believe we rolled
outside.
a 9.
Oh, is that what
That's
that
a
was?
9 moment right
Yes,
there.
that is what that was.
Okay. Now my backpack was on me. Would I have felt anything in the moment?
No, because your senses were in that of your
No,
owl.
no. I am only blinded and deafened. If I'm
Yes,
touched,
deafened.
I can feel it.
So you might have heard it happening, but touch, no.
Okay, fair enough. Either way, I feel like I gained all of the knowledge that I needed to get out of those books.
You did gain a lot of knowledge out of those books and put it in something that you've explicitly said is a cookbook.
Yes. It's very much a recipe book.
Which
Hey,
may or may
Starlight,
not
come
have
look
saved
out.
your ass there.
Recipes of chaos.
God, could you imagine a wizard without a spell book in the middle of the apocalypse?
I'd cry.
Like, seriously, might as well just start rerolling characters, man.
Why be
I
wizard?
was-
Just be Sork.
I was gonna do it. Until I was like, now hold on a minute. That doesn't even look like a spellbook, does it? Would undefined character know to steal it? No, he would not.
So I got a little lucky there. Right. Kruak,
Yeah.
the books, they didn't burn?
What about them?
They're missing.
Well, that's not good.
Along with the spell book that we got from the pretty guy.
Okay, that's really not good.
Am I missing any components or anything like that?
Or
was it just the books?
It was just the books because they didn't dig through your pack. They went for the books, they got the books, and they got out of there. So you're not missing anything else.
It was a precision airstrike. It wasn't a carpet bomb.
Yeah, it was a precision strike.
The fuck?
Okay. So we're gonna... Oh, I don't have the option to strike through. We're just gonna uncheck it.
Have you got your staff still?
I have the staff. I have my recipe book.
Oh, well, good. You can make us spice sausage.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that. Now, in my head, keeping pace of where I know that the devil was bound, have we gotten closer to it? Or was it like due west and we've moved due north?
It was due west, you've moved due north, so you're a little further away. Not that much, but a little further away.
Okay. Now, from what I read in the book about stealing the devil's power, I need to come into contact with the devil, and I need some kind of conduit for its power.
Yep, I would say that's correct.
Okay. So, if my familiar comes into contact with the devil...
If your familiar had the conduit, then maybe you'd be able to do what you're thinking of doing, but it would only... Like, the energy would only go into the conduit.
Okay.
Can't go into a familiar.
Imagine this owl just exploding.
I was gonna say I don't want to. It's got 1 hit point, so like if you went even a little bit wrong, poof. And then you're
1d4 minus 1. It could have 3. We never rolled it.
You got
Would you
some
like to roll
delicious
it?
chimkin recipes in there?
There is probably some chimkim recipes. I imagine that absorb elements is like a Cajun chicken recipe.
Yeah, why not?
Magic Missile is just Salt Bay steak.
There
That's how I'm imagining you casting Magic Missile now, just doing the little salt sprinkle from a height.
we go. It has 1 hit point.
So yeah, so 1 hit point, like we said. All of that for it to just be 1 hit point.
All of that to be what it was.
Uh-huh.
In all your failures, you come back to me. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Is John bold enough to strike out on his own and go for a little walk? Probably not 5 miles in the woods on his own.
It is
That's
indeed 5 miles in the woods on his own, and he's exhausted.
Yes, that is true.
We do have a pet dragon you could take.
Oh my god.
I'm just
Buddy
saying.
cop adventures with Sean and the Dragon?
Oh my god.
That needs its own spin-off.
If you survive this campaign, you can have your spin-off.
Right.
That's a pretty heavy if.
Definitely, especially with my decision making so far.
Yeah.
It's the heaviest if, and it's why I allowed it.
Yeah. So, the books are gone, and that's bad. But nothing even knew that we had them. I mean, we killed everyone from the orc camp. Did you see anything, Kruak? Usually you're pretty astute.
I didn't see anything. I just spoke to someone.
You what?
Yeah, remember when I woke you up and asked you to go to sleep?
That was very strange, but yeah, I remember that happened.
Yeah, in hindsight, I did think that you were actually going to be asleep in the dome. I didn't realize you were bleeding.
Yeah, there was some pretty interesting knowledge contained in those books. Dangerous stuff that could be useful, maybe. What was the thing that you talked to?
That's the problem. I have no idea.
Oh. And it was fine, as far as you imagined, to not tell anybody that you spoke to a thing that was interested in, like, books written in Abyssal?
Well, it kind of skulked around the camp. It said that they were dangerous.
I don't suppose anything would talk to you and say it was vulnerable.
Well, no, I don't think things are vulnerable to books. But then again, I don't actually know that much about books.
Books in the wrong hands can be very dangerous. There's a lot of a lot of knowledge that can be gained that sometimes things or people shouldn't have access to.
Yeah.
Without appropriate levels of restraint, people can find themselves, especially those that are unskilled, in heaps of trouble very quickly.
Yeah, like you.
What do you mean, like me? My father was an archmage, and I've studied my entire life on magic.
Yeah, but like you're about as good at it as I am, and I'm 3, and I live in a swamp.
Your magic comes from a very different source. You
Yeah.
have very differing abilities. I don't know that within the scope of the arcane, you command quite the same dominion as I do, or other people of my camp. Not to be insulting, I feel like arcane-based magics are far more dangerous than nature-based magics. At least in terms of backfire
yeah,
potential.
you're. Oh, I mean, I definitely agree that it's more dangerous in terms of backfire material because it's in the hands of people that aren't particularly trustworthy.
I don't know that you can classify an entire group of people as untrustworthy, but I have read many cautionary tales.
I have read a lot of. Well, I haven't actually. Um,
You seem to command a lot of knowledge for someone who's lived in a swamp for 3 years and has had no
it's weird.
touch with the outside world.
I know it's weird. I don't fully understand it.
Does it feel like you know things?
Yeah,
Or does it feel
yeah.
like...
Like I woke up and I just know things, and sometimes things just come to me.
No, how does it come to you? Does it feel like you remember that you needed to go get firewood? Or does it feel like you should avoid something? Like, is it instinctual? Or is it
Both.
like subconscious?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it comes from a part of my mind that isn't fully consciously me.
Interesting.
But I don't really have a basis for comparison. Like, I thought this was just what everybody was like,
No, and I don't suppose that you would have a basis for comparison either
right?
with your history.
It's weird.
I'm
I can't
curious.
really explain it.
I wonder if we found some kind of divine magic caster, if there was something that they could do to figure out what's happening inside your noggin.
Maybe. It'd be good to
Unfortunately,
know.
that's an area that's starkly lacking in the arcane.
Yeah, I don't really know how I would, check myself.
But back to the crux of the issue. You spoke with an entity that you didn't see
Yeah.
that was interested in books about devil binding and devil summoning, and it didn't trigger any red flags to you?
Well, it did. And I told it that uh, I had no way of trusting it. Um, and that if it wasn't going to show itself, then there was no way for it claimed that it was trying to it was trying diplomacy with us, and I pointed out that if it wasn't going to show itself to me, then there was no way for me to trust it. It seemed to want me to take the books off of you and give it to it, and I refused. And it seemed disappointed and left.
Do you not think that by not saying anything to the rest of us that it could be implied that you did in fact trust this creature by not alerting us to its presence? So you've
Well,
allowed it dominion even though you
pro-
didn't trust it.
problem is, John, I didn't trust it, and I don't really trust the books with you either.
I've done nothing to hurt anyone.
But
As a
you
matter
also
of
haven't
fact, I've
told us anything about them.
I have only just begun to scratch the surface of what was in them. Why would I enter into a conversation about something that I barely understand and just confuse everyone?
Why would I enter into a conversation about something that I barely understand and confuse everyone?
Well, if something, maybe you said it was trying diplomacy?
Yeah, it was talking to me.
Well, that means that it has some kind of goals or motives. And to not talk to your compatriots who have similar goals and motives to you, you've put all of us in an area for conflict. Now the books are missing. The knowledge is incomplete. Whatever it was has what it wanted, and we didn't even know it existed.
If it was that.
Well, it could have been anything else. You've left us at its mercy.
I mean, we're all okay.
For the moment. It could have easily not been this way.
Anyway, everyone but John gains the benefits of a long rest.
Yay.
Woo! I didn't need it, but woo! Did we get a level up yet?
No.
Does everyone but John get a level up yet?
No.
Damn.
Even if John's exhausted, if there was a level up, he'd still be getting one. He took part in the session.
Yay.
Maybe Al would miss out on one, but...
Does Al lose a point of exhaustion?
I believe he does, yes.
Yay!
I mean, he's rested twice, he'd lose 2, right?
Well, yes, but he loses a point of exhaustion this time. He had multiple. Poor Al.
Very good.
By the time it's morning, do we still hear the booming?
By the time it's morning, you do not hear the booming anymore. It seems to have calmed down. Whatever the dispute was, well, obviously you don't know, you don't have eyes on it, but you're not
I do.
You're not feeling those shockwaves anymore.
I would say after the conversation with Kruok, John was going to go back into his owl and watch the remainder of the proceedings until he get woken up, quote unquote.
Well, unfortunately, people, like, as you're finishing up your conversation with Kruok, people get woken up because it had been that many hours.
Oof.
So you're like, oh man, I need just 5 minutes of, and you see people coming out of the tent.
So hey, the booming's over, guys, so it probably wasn't anything to worry about, right?
There's 32 dragons.
What?
Yeah. You look at John, and his eyes are like 3 inches deeper into his head. He looks like what he did when he let the necrotic energy wash over him, but without the little bit of subtle cockiness on the backside from the temporary HPs.
32.
32.
32 ancient
Mhm.
dragons in a conference arguing about ideology. Just a couple of miles outside the forest.
Well, who was winning?
The whites versus
Yep.
the reds. It looked like it wasn't even much of a contest.
Well, that's not really fair, because the reds were on the whites' territory.
Well, here's kind of like a neutral zone for them.
But
Because,
it's so cold.
well, not as cold as it was inside the zone.
It seemed like they were coming for us.
No, it seemed like they either didn't care or didn't know that we were here. They had other business. They were arguing about how greedy the white dragons were, and how what they were doing wasn't within the tenets that Tiamat had installed. There might be some kind of infighting going on between them. The red dragons want to bring in an age of fire and burn the whole continent. So that doesn't sound awesome either.
Maybe it's better just to let the white dragons rule if the alternative is hellfire.
I think it would be better to kill every fucking dragon we can find. And he looks at Ren and says, no, not every.
Mm.
Noted.
You think you can take 32?
At once? No. Individually? No. Not right now.
Oh, well, they should be realistic about your options.
I try to be, pragmatic at least about things. But I think if we keep getting stronger, we can find allies and maybe take this continent back.
We could wear them down.
Maybe. That's a tall order, though.
What else are
Oh,
we
and
gonna do?
something busted into the tent last night and stole all the books that I was reading. You guys might want to check your persons and see if anything else was stolen.
I check my persons.
I check my persons too.
Nope, nothing taken from you, Luna. The knight. Just let me have a look at your character sheet.
My person's is Al, so I'm checking Al.
Okay. No, looks good. None of that was taken. Let's double check Al's character sheet. And that is a no.
Is the corpse that the knight has been carrying around still there?
Do we even have
Yes.
that anymore?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought you
It's
left
just-
it at some
it's-
point.
It's like slung underneath the cart, strapped to the bottom like a spare tire.
Oh no.
Just keeping that around for when John gets good enough at necromancy.
If the guard trait gets on quick.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if it's slung under the cart and you lose sight of the guard drake, there's going to be bits missing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it literally is. I don't think the knight would be very
No.
happy with that.
The knight would not be very happy with that.
Well, I'm not missing anything, so how could something have broken in without us noticing?
Well, obviously I didn't notice, but neither did our lookouts. The spell tome that I never got a chance to look at from the pretty guy is gone. The spell tome, my book is okay, but the big books that were written in Epistle are gone as well.
Does anyone have Loki object?
I think Friend was asking about that earlier, and no one said anything.
Yes, and when we were talking about the ring, no, I don't have it.
Do you have it as a spell scroll? I might be able to cast it if I use the orb and transfer it into my book here.
Oh, let me check. He reaches into his bag of holding and rummages around for a while, and pulls out his codex of spell scrolls and starts thumbing through. I don't believe I have it. Nope. It would be here if I had it, and unfortunately not.
What do you have? Maybe next time we rest we can go over and I might be able to get or part you with some of those scrolls to bolster my spell book.
You want an inventory of all of my scrolls?
I mean, just the ones you'd be willing to part with. I have gold. It seems to still carry value to you, and of course, I can lend my arcane mind and assistance to you in the coming days. It's obviously not something that I'll be forceful about, but I feel like it would benefit us all.
I'll consider it.
We're in a snowy area, right?
Yes, we are.
I'm gonna check around the tent for any tracks that go in ways into the woods that we did not do.
Okay. So there are 2 footprints just outside the tent.
On the side that
That
John was
are-
on?
Pardon?
On the side that John was sleeping in?
Yes.
Okay.
They are about double the length of a normal footprint, and each there's clearly 3 claws at the end because there's 3 little stab holes at the end of them, but they're way too long to be a normal humanoid footprint, like way too long. They're a normal humanoid width, but they're like double the length.
And they don't go into the woods or anywhere? They're just 2 of them.
Just 2 of them, like
John!
something landed.
John,
Yeah?
come here. Look.
What's going on?
This is where you were
Holy-
sleeping, wasn't it?
Pretty near. Let me take a look at those feet. Does John recognize what kind of... Yeah, I know, that sounds weird, okay, you fucking sicko.
Dude, you said it!
We're talking about footprints in the goddamn snow. In
Yeah.
context, it's fine!
Let me have a look at
You
those
didn't say
feet!
prince, though.
Let me look at them feet.
Let me just get a whiff, you know.
Oh, God.
God, motherfucker. I'm gonna ask for assistance. In identifying these, does it look like anything I've ever seen?
Does it look like anything you've ever seen? How many footprints have you surveyed in your life as a wizard?
First hand, not many, but I'm imagining during like general studies at the university, we went over all manner of like how to identify various
Yeah.
beasts and like devils and shit like that.
Luna's grown up in library, so I'll help.
Sure. Both of you can make me either Arcana or Religion checks.
Religion.
That's gonna be Arcana,
I'm good.
not me.
Arcana does absolutely nothing for you. However, and this is perfect, this is the dice telling a story, Religion does tell you something. Luna, you recognize when John brings it up, these are like devil's feet. A specific kind of devil called an Abashi, which is a part dragon devil.
Oh no.
What do you mean, oh no?
This is not good. This is not just a dragon. This is a part devil dragon.
No, I wouldn't think that's very good.
Mm-mm.
And it was in my backpack, and it has books about devil summoning, devil binding.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the books that I was reading chronicle how to summon devils and demons, and how to steal their powers.
Why would a devil want to summon more devils?
Or maybe he wants to break the pact on one of his brothers. There's a devil in these woods that the orcs were stealing power from.
Maybe that's
Just a few-
him.
Just a few miles to the west. The books described that devil was impaled with some kind of a spike that was siphoning its power away, and it made it seem like it was stuck in place somewhere, like bound, like it couldn't do anything.
Mm-mm.
Well, that's a horrifying thought.
Yeah, it is. That's why I was trying to get a bigger picture before I said anything.
Do you know where it is? Maybe if we go there, your books are there.
I do actually know where it is. It's a few miles to the west.
If he is trying to help his brother, then that could be where he went.
I don't know that freeing a devil is a good thing, but the book talked about how old this devil was. Apparently, it was bound in these forests long before Tiamat took power.
Mm.
So, it's possible. It might not be a good idea, but it's possible that there's a potential ally to be found in these devils versus the dragons.
I think
Our
it's worth a
goals would
shot.
certainly be aligned. And if not, it's bound, and we could complete a ritual and steal its power for ourselves and keep the devil bound.
Or just walk away.
So you
Right.
think that if
According
we
to what I
can
read,
liberate ourselves from the tyranny of dragons, we can do so with the help of demons, and they won't just take that from us and
well,
assume their place.
we'll have to be very careful about how we do it.
Well, demons are very different from devils. I learned
Yeah.
that from my studies for sure. But yeah, there is no guarantee that devils still wouldn't want to take over, but they're kind of in their own ranking thing. I don't know that they care about us very much.
I don't know that they care about us very much too, but also there's the fact that the dragons now are a big problem, and we could use all the help that we can get, whether it's voluntary or we steal from them. But devils can be bound. Devils
My
can
vote
be...
is yes.
There are certain things, I believe, that we can do with devils that we can't do with dragons. They're powerful, but they're more limited. And my knowledge is only cursory. But Luna's on board. I don't think it could hurt to check it out.
I don't like this idea, John.
From what the book accounted, the devil is bound, and it should be no threat. It's been there for dozens of years at the least. So I don't believe that there will be a threat to us unless this other devil shows up out of nowhere that's apparently invisible. And
Nothing is invisible forever.
though this is true, there's also maybe Vren has a scroll, or maybe Vren can do it. There's a spell that I've read about called See Invisibility.
I'm so close to learning that one.
It might be very helpful for us. Vren, did you get your spells back this morning? Or are you still
Oh, I
without?
got my spells back yesterday morning. That's how I did the fireball on the ring, which was entirely inadvised, but made me feel better.
Somehow I totally blocked that out of my mind. It must have been... I was reading. I was very engrossed in my material.
It was an explosion. How did you?
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
You should have had your
Ren
eyes
blows
fixed on
John
it.
up and then walks away.
So you've got 2 votes, Devil.
Hold on a minute. We're voting to Devil? What? Did I?
To
You
get
must
John's
have
books
missed
back.
something. Yeah, a devil stole the books on devil binding, summoning, and stealing power. And
I see this as an absolute win.
there's a devil. What do you mean it's a win? It's knowledge that's been stolen from us. Whether we used it or not, we could at least make a judgment call. And there's
It's nice if we got a chance to make a judgment call.
I didn't have a full picture. It'd have been nice to know that there was something stalking us from the shadows. But you didn't
Alright,
bother to
alright,
tell
are
us
we
about
going or
that,
not?
Kruok.
I don't. Okay, hold on. How many votes to going to see the devil?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how many votes against?
That would be me.
Night.
I say we could investigate, but as much as I don't think it's a good idea,
So that's 3 votes for the devil and 1 against. Bren turns to look to Al, and Al is just standing there, like, with his middle finger up, refusing to take part. And Bren looks at him and then just looks back to the group and is like, then I guess we go to the devil. That's group consensus.
It's bound, and it has been for a long time.
And yet it stole books from your backpack. How bound can something be if it stole books from your backpack?
We don't know
Something
that it's the
else.
same one.
Stole from my backpack. It was very interested in recovering this knowledge.
I mean, I suppose it didn't stuff a dagger in you while in the tent, so that's nice.
Exactly.
It could have, yeah. Apparently it was also there in the orc camp.
What?
And John's shooting daggers at Kruok. Apparently, Kruok had encountered and spoke to this creature and then decided to tell none of us about it.
So are we taking the cart?
I believe that's party consensus, unless...
If you and Al vote no, we're tied.
Vren's just gonna consider things for a moment. I'm not here to cast votes. The party is you 5. I am here to accompany because we had a deal. All I'm thinking is if a book can summon a devil and a devil is bound, maybe they're looking to unbind it.
Yeah, that's what
And
we
that
were
could
talking
also
about.
be bad.
That's something that I'm thinking as well. And this devil, Vren, per the book, is old. Pre-Tiamat Ascension old.
Well, that's only 100 or so years.
Yeah?
So we need to hurry.
All right. Just so you're aware, 90% of my magic is fire. Devils, in general, are immune to fire. I'm going to be of very little help to you all if we go down this route, and I generally avoid this kind of danger, but I made a promise, and I'm going to stick to it, so I'm with you.
Do you know support spells? We don't necessarily need you dealing damage, although that is very juicy.
I can make Al and Croc go very, very fast.
What if you make Knight go fast? He's already fast. That would be super fast.
It would be.
I can make him invisible, but he's already pretty good at that.
Not good enough.
You can't make him fast?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I fucking glare at John and I say, sometimes too good.
I could also make him fast.
Yes, sometimes too good. Apparently, I'm not as astute as an orc.
Oh. Well, you did not notice a fireball earlier.
I was reading some interesting material.
About devils?
That's still worrying. So, if we've all voted, are you sticking with the party, Croc?
I suppose so. I think it's deeply ill-advised. And I don't think that the elk will follow us towards the bound devil. I also don't think it's a great idea to do so. I think it might end up like the horse.
Well, we don't have to tell it where we're going.
I'm not going to lie to it and then walk it into danger.
Well, we can protect
It wouldn't be
it.
lying. I mean, what did you tell it in the first place to get it to follow us?
Speaking as someone that believes there's been a devil bound in this wood for a long time, and a devil has just got access to books that could possibly unbind it, it might actually be more dangerous to let things play out than to go and try and put a stop to it.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
if this elk lives in these woods, there is an argument to be made that we are doing the right thing, charging into danger. And Vren's doing a very uneasy shrug as he rationalizes this to himself.
Well, let's walk into the maws of danger. And just see what happens.
There isn't anything that we're doing that isn't walking into danger.
Let's start packing up the tent.
Look, all I'm saying is we're walking in the opposite direction to 32 dragons. And I don't care if there's one devil in this direction. It feels like the lesser of two evils.
So it sounds like we're majority consensus.
Alright, well, with that,
Follow me.
you guys pack up the tent, and that is where we will end the session for today, because that is 10 p.m.